Yo guys, what's good? It's your boy Tacho here, and we are back for some more Fire Emblem Heroes. Alright, we got the announcement today for the upcoming Hall of Forms. Pretty cool. I already covered the units that we were going to get in the data mine video, because of course there is a very special somebody on this one, and that somebody is going to be Brave Fjorm. I think this is going to be another deal like the Brave Lucina thing, where a lot of people might go ahead and purchase that Forma Soul pack just to get that unit. So Brave Lucina, of course, is an awesome supporter, and she's just very good to have a single copy of. And I think the same can be said with Brave Fjorm. She's really good for the isolation if you need it for Aether Raids. Just being able to lock down a row and stop dancers from dancing, or maybe stop restore traps from happening with staff units, is going to be really good. The only bad thing I will say is that they have progressively been adding more ways for us to stop isolation. So, of course, there's odd recovery, and I'm guaranteeing you guys that eventually we're going to get even recovery. And we also have the Kia staff from the Sarah that we got. So all of these things to consider are going to hinder isolation. And just in general, the foes may end up having more HP than Brave Fjorm anyway. So all of these things, like isolation, is really good. And if you want to pick it up, then that's fine by me. I just have to give you guys a bit of a heads up on all the ways that there are to stop it, right? Alright, without further ado though, let's actually jump into the units and let's start talking about builds you may want to pick up. Okay, so of course we're going to start things off with Brave Fjorm. I think she is the one to go for if you're going to use your Forma Soul on any of these units. So in terms of weapons, we have quite a couple of options here. Grand Scratcher is very good, of course, and it's going to be very helpful if you want to run her on an IP team. And because she's a flying unit, of course, she can provide support like ground orders and etc. So she's not bad for a infantry pulse setup. You could also go for Candle Lights or Witchy Wand. There are two other weapons that do the same thing, though. Flash is the same as Candle Lights, and also, what's the one that does the same as Witchy Wand? I believe it's, I can't remember the name right now, actually, but I know it's available in the summoning pool. So, either of those are fine. I just like to go for the seasonal locked variants, because they are a little bit harder to get. And then for the assist, you're free to go for Rescue, or Physic. I was about to pull a 2004 there and say Psychic, but nah, it's Physic or Physic. I don't know how you want to say that, but it's not too shabby. She already comes with Restore, of course, so you don't have to worry about that. The only sucky thing is that you're not going to be able to get Return on her, which is restoring HP and also causing reposition. So I would say that is the best healer assist in the game right now. Reposition is pretty much usable on every single unit in the game. So being able to reposition and heal, obviously that's going to be very good. But for now, we just have to make do with Rescue. In the A skill, I would say probably go for an offensive skill on her. And her being a staff unit means that she's not going to be able to have certain offensive options. So you're stuck with solo skills and push 4 skills if you want to go for some stat bonuses. I would recommend probably attack and speed push 4. And for the rare instances where you need her to player phase, she's going to be able to get some nice bonuses there. Unfortunately, we don't have access to a colorless flyer dual skill, which probably would have been the best option to pick up. But it's not even a big deal. You really just need it for the HP up 5 anyway. And it's not hard to get HP up 5 on the regular banners. In the B slot, you have a couple of options here as well. Sudden Panic is really awesome, and it's going to work out well with her weapon wanting her to have high HP. You can go for Chill Attack and Speed, or really any combo of double chill skill. There's not too many other options she can take, being a staff flyer type, so a lot of the other good B skills are locked out of her inheritance. And lastly, you could try something like Flyer Formation or Aerobatics, just so you don't have to run them in the Sacred Seal slot and you're free to run HP up 5 or HP 4 attack 2 as the Sacred Seal instead. But any of these jump skills for flying units are very handy. And finally, in the C slot, you can go for a rain skill if you want. Attack and Speed Rain obviously comes to mind. Or a Joint Drive skill so she can gain stat bonuses for herself. or help support her allies in 2 spaces. Either joint drive attack or joint drive res are going to work out pretty fine. And that just about covers us for Bride Fjorm, so let's move on to the next unit here. So Laegjarn, aka Laegjarn, I would consider her the second best unit out of this batch. She makes very good use of the flyer exclusive beast skills. Like, as you can see, Wyvern Flight, Guard Bearing, Dive Bomb, all 3 of them are going to come into play on Laegjarn depending on what sort of build you want to run. So I think that's pretty awesome. There's also some pretty good weapon options you could go for, like Pledge Blade, which is nice because it can grant her the breath ramp effect on her specials. And typically, flying units are not allowed to inherit the breath skills in the first place, so Pledge Blade is a pretty cheeky way to get it on her. We also have Bell Ringer if you want to get some nice sustain with every attack, or Melee Bouquet if you want to initiate combat and go for the impact effect without actually having to run Sturdy Impact. So by having that weapon, you're free to run Swift Sparrow or Attack and Speed Push 4 or something like that. I was thinking about giving her the Ninja Katana, actually, because imagine Ninja Katana with Dive Bomb and you're going to be able to hit 4 times in a row. But unfortunately, Laegjarn's attack stat isn't really the greatest, so even if she's hitting the foes 4 times in a row with the ninja weapon, it doesn't really help her out all that much. So I decided to go for Melee Bouquet instead, because it does at least grant you some bonus attack, and it has a higher attack stat value than the Ninja Katana anyway. But maybe someone out there can come up with a better build for the Ninja Katana on her than I can. So just don't forget that weapon is available. Otherwise, the rest of it seems pretty self-explanatory. Ruptured Sky, very good special, and the hardest one to get on Laegjarn, so that's what you want to take. Distant Counter and Distant Foil, both are going to work out nicely. Distant Foil more so if you want to focus on her thick defense. But Distant Counter can work too, because even though her res is seemingly not the greatest, it's not going to be too hard to juice up her res with allies or blessings. And of course, she can have stuff like Guard Bearing or Wyvern Flight to really lower the foe's damage output. So Distant Counter can still work. And for the C slot, you definitely want to go for a rain skill. I would say probably attack and defense rain. Maybe attack and speed rain isn't too bad either. But the rain skills are the cream of the crop for these flyer types. You'd also go for a joint drive skill or pulse smoke. I would stay away from panic smoke or any of the other smokes, because if you want to run her perf weapon, then debuffing the foes is not necessarily going to be what she wants. Her weapon is giving her stat bonuses equivalent to the total bonuses on the foe divided by half. So let's say the foe had +6 to all stats for a total of 24. Her weapon would be giving her +12 to all of her stats. So it's a really cool weapon for messing with foes that are trying to spam stat buffs. But whether you want to run that over one of the inheritable weapons is going to be up to you. And next up, we've got the Bunny Veronica. Honestly, this unit is not too spectacular anymore. And she got shafted pretty hardcore here, because she's not going to be able to have access to the Plegian Tome that we just got. That would have been a really good weapon for her. But I digress. She is stuck with pretty much one good option. And for the weapon, I gotta say, go for Spectral Tome. It's just a tome with built-in panic smoke, but that's still sadly better than the other options we have for green tomes. Madness Flask is okay, but it virtually does the exact same thing as her own weapon, with just a couple minor differences, like Madness Flask is giving her visible stats, while her weapon gives her invisible ones. So maybe you could find a use for that, probably if you're going to run a Blazing Special or something of that nature. But you probably don't want to run Madness Flask over her own weapon anyway, so just keep that in mind. And of course the Blade Tome, which is just viable on every single tome unit. And then the rest of her skills are pretty self-explanatory as well. Sturdy Impact is going to be nice for juicing up her defense and helping her survive a counter hit, because of course this Veronica is made out of paper. So one hit and she's just going to be dead. And Sturdy, of course, is very good. Fury 4, not a bad option either. And then for the option, any combo of those would work out just fine, like maybe attack and speed or attack and res or whatever. It's just a shame that these flying ranged units don't have as many premium level skills as their melee counterparts do. And for the passive C, you can go for ground orders to support the allies. Let them jump around if you want. There's also rain skills and joint drives. Pretty much just pick your favorite combo of stats on the rain skill or your favorite stat for the joint drive. Those skills are just always going to be good. And last, and certainly least, we have Ylgr. Probably the worst unit out of these options. She does have some interesting things that she can do, though. I'm just not sure how many people this is going to appeal to. So, what is there to really say about Ylgr? She's not very good, and she wasn't even very good when she came out. Her weapon is legit worse than Courtly Fan, which is an option you can pick up in here. They literally have the exact same stats, except Courtly Fan also comes with null follow-up built in. So it's like there's no reason to run her perf. And she doesn't hit very hard either, so any dagger that has effective damage or allows you to deal some additional damage is going to be nice. Broadly Fan is an option, of course, or Dusk Uchiha, which I'm going for. Caltrop Dagger does the exact same thing. Basically, though, it comes with Hardy Bearing to boot, so you're going to get some nice mileage out of that. But Kitty Paddle is also pretty solid if you want to go for that instead. There's also Red Hot Ducks if you want some true damage from that weapon. Really, there's so many good daggers in the game that you could feel free to pick whichever one you like the most. I just think these are probably the most relevant options, though. Now, going back to the topic of Aether Raids, of course, being a dagger-type unit, you can get Disarm Trap on Ylgr. So she'd be able to check traps for you and still get the attacks on the foes. Pretty nice utility. Also, with Dusk Uchiha and Color Advantage on both Eliwood and Kemph, you can really bully those too. And they are very commonly seen on Aether Raids teams, for defense particularly. So Ylgr's not too shabby for that, I guess. You can also run like Pulse Smoke on her so she can shut down IP teams. Just run in, get an attack off with Disarm Trap, and then get her out of the way for free. And pretty much shut down the whole IP setup with Pulse Smoke. But if you want to play her more offensively, then the classic offensive skills are going to work out, like Attack and Speed Push 4, Fury 4, Swift Sparrow 3, etc. Just pick whichever one you like the most. And there's lull skills and ruse skills as options for her. If you want to go for Broadleaf Fan, then probably take a ruse skill for the debuffs. And Attack and Speed Ruse is probably the best one, because, of course, daggers innately come with Dagger 7. And for the C slot, you can go for a Times Pulse or a Joint Drive. Times Pulse is going to be nice, so she can just quickly get to a special. And it's not going to be too hard to get Infantry Pulse ramping on her, because her HP is very low. Or you could just run Quicken Pulse with Times Pulse and instantly clap with a Ruptured Sky to the face. But of course, the Joint Drives are nice as well, and they can help support the team. So that's all there is to say about this round of Forma Souls. I think Bride Fjorm is probably going to lead to another Brave Lucina situation where a lot of people are just going to buy the Forma Soul just to get her. But again, like I said, do keep in mind that isolation is progressively getting worse and worse because there's more ways for us to actually deal with it now. But even with that being said, it is nice to have isolation as a utility. So I can completely understand why some people might want to pick up the Forma Soul and get Fjorm. But anyways, that's going to be much to everyone for watching. And I will catch y'all again on the flip side.